man. There are people, you know, who in that period made this YouTuber influencer. They made interviews with citizens of Sarajevo, and in particular, one man said that this is great opportunity, something in this way, to take weapons and to kill all of them. And that's really, how to say, touched me, disturbed me, made some unexpected feelings that I didn't like, because 25 years ago happened a so bad war, and so many people died because of such a politic that we had, that some people were cold in some way, and because of that some people were killed or taken away or executed and things so on. So I know in that period, of course, we are speaking that in 58% of the people in Bosnia and Herzegovina against LGBTQA community, you know, and it was difficult to have to make it for me and my crew. It was difficult, but that was the reason, actually, that sentence, that interview that I saw in particular pushed me that I must to do something. I have to do something about this event. I have to speak about it, because it is important that we are speaking often in Bosnia and Herzegovina about equality, but only in the moment when we need. And in many situations, people are not respecting it.
Thank you, Ado, for that answer. And if I may ask, actually leaning on what you just said with regards to the references to the war and the violence, and that somehow still being the burden that the region perpetually has to carry in some problematic ways, we were incredibly proud to feature your film about this important landmark event that took place in Sarajevo. So your film bears witness to it. Thank you for making it. You also feature in the film not just scenes from the march itself, but also interview passers-by, random passers-by. I wanted you to comment a little bit on that. Did you meet any reluctance of people wanting to actually talk to you about it? And actually, there's one quote from a man who talked to you who says, and I'll read it, "This is the Balkans after all. Wars start in the Balkans." So can you comment on this? And any other comments you encountered while you were talking to interlocutors, especially the ones who are against Pride?
Well, thank you for your question. And I studied, how to say, methodology, how to film this movie. So first of all, I needed to think about in which way I will gonna film, how I will prepare camera equipment, and I make it looks cheap. I make it looks not that professional, let's say. I had 2 people next to me, like a sound engineer and assistant, and I was operator as well. So that was the important thing to start, how to make and to take interviews with people about very delicate topic. Because when I was thinking, if I go there with a huge equipment, cameras, people will be scared, they will not speak, or they will not be maybe sincere. And I was thinking, maybe if I catch the moment, if I just go there with camera and explain them, are you for love or hate? That was the first question. You know, I was studying questions which kind of questions I will ask to them. I didn't ask directly. First question was not, do you know what you think about first gay pride? First question always was because I'm making movie about hate and love. That was my, like, say, first question. And then what was important, interesting, in Sarajevo, the Saturday, it was the 7th of September, it was Family Day. And the 8th, that Family Day, it was some kind of protest that against LGBT community. And the 8th of September, it was Gay Pride. So I would ask some people, like, are you for love or for hate? Saturday or Sunday? What is for you love? What is for you hate? So it was a subtle, how to say, way to approach towards different kinds of people. And then in that moment, people will say, you're asking about that Pride March? And then they say it. They were very sincere. They were not scared. Because first I was filming like directly with people, and then I felt that people, some of them, they were not interested to speak about it. It happened also that I filmed some people, and that in the end they come back to me, even if they agreed to be in the movie. They said, I don't want to be. And of course we respected it. It was, that man who said, this is the Balkan, war started in Balkan. Maybe in somehow there is, I left this interview in the movie because it is important, because he's speaking about something really important, about emotions, about the feelings. And maybe it is true that people on the Balkan, they are more, how to say, I don't know, he said it in a great way, and I hope people will also have a possibility to watch it and to hear how he described it, because people are always ready to fight or to declare to in some and to fight for their ideas.
Yeah, and in fact, to just follow up, he says something about the emotional charge being always heightened in the Balkans when it comes to nations, as opposed to other nations in the world, which is also a problematic excuse for fighting against change, right? Keeping things more traditional and conservative.
True. He said that, but of course, what was important actually, that I don't know actually how much things will gonna change for LGBT community in Bosnia and Herzegovina after the first Pride March, but it was important because at least they, for one day, show that they are visible in our country, and that those people are born in our country, and those people are citizens of our country, and we should respect them and all minority groups in our country, because we are known with by hundreds and hundreds years that we accepted different people who were coming in our country. So this is, I think it's nothing, it doesn't have to be something new, but of course people use religion, people use tradition, and I think they understood that this will not change tradition, this will not disturb any segment of their religion. It was a protest to ask for the basic human rights.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting also because thinking about specifically about the LGBTQ community in Bosnia-Herzegovina, and not only in Bosnia-Herzegovina, but wider in the region, and how heavily under attack and targeted this community has been for years and continues to be so, often subjected to violent attacks. A lot of people expected that this parade will not happen because of these threats. You also just mentioned now the counter protests that were happening, that the one that was organized the day before, under the slogan traditional family values or something like that, if I remember correctly. But it also it rained heavily on them, and there were just a handful of people there. Can you describe a little bit of the atmosphere of being there? Because I know it was tense. There was a really high police presence, something around 1,000 special forces were deployed, security guards, etc. We see this in your film as well. And you said you were kind of unobtrusive. You tried to use equipment that was, smaller, not looking kind of professional, so you can kind of operate more easier. But can you speak a little bit about that tension and about just being in the place and how people reacted to one another, about the fear that existed there?
Yeah, it was weird in some situation, in some moments, because I was filming, a few days before, during, and after. And that night, even when I was filming that night, the night before, people were like expecting that the end of the world will happen tomorrow, like on the day of the Pride. People were, with some people, I will ask them, like, what do you think about the event? They said, we don't want to fight, we experienced war, I hope. People were connecting the gay pride with the war, many of them, because people were scared that some big conflict, that something will explode. There were so many police forces from different cantons. They arrived in Sarajevo, 100,000 and 100, and they were on different preparations. It was organized very well. I think the Pride March, it was as event organized, one of the two most biggest event that happened in Bosnia in recent history is, like, we have Pride March and the visit of the Pope from Rome. So that one was the hugest maybe event, but the Pride March, it was, like there. It was complex to organize. It was very difficult to handle and to take all under control. And police were so aggressive. I felt it even meanwhile I was filming, and they were really strong, and people were disappointed because the streets were blocked. Some of them, they said, like, Sarajevo was like blocked during Pride March more than during the war. And people were pissed off because Sarajevo was blocked for one day, because they couldn't go to buy medicine on the other part of the city, or they couldn't go to the supermarkets. I mean, it's just one day, and they knew it was that day. I mean, you could do shopping a day before or day later. I mean, it was particular situation, because some of the groups, I faced one group of the people, they were like asking me, like, on which side you are. Like, it was difficult to, like, I'm here, you see, I'm filming on this spot here. So you conclude on which part and side I am. Like, they were saying, like, we woke up just to beat lesbians and homosexual people, like, and then it was, but so many people, so many policemen were also in civilian like clothes, so they were following those groups, critical groups, because you could see those 5 or 10 people who were gonna go around, who tried to break this this corridor of the police, but it was impossible because you had three slots like of the police corridors, and I don't know for the snipers, but it was difficult because when I was trying to go closer to the police and to make some filming, they were just saying like, police was aggressive. They were saying just move, go back, like because they didn't trust, like they were having all under the control. And even before, police controlled all like flowers around next to the road. They would check everything in case that something is maybe bomb or anything. Everything was organized in a perfect way. So
it's quite interesting also because there was a heavy presence of foreign diplomats as well, or foreign officials, foreign government officials at the parade, including the openly gay U.S. ambassador Eric Nelson, who has also marched in the parade. Do you think that the presence of the diplomats has actually helped the parade in ways that prompted actually the national security forces to take it seriously and to really go and to kind of deploy these forces to protect the parade and at the same time protect the foreign diplomats who were there?
Sorry, I think that people didn't care so much. They didn't care so much about who is that there are some important diplomacy people. I think that what is important, that some leaders even of these groups who protested, who were anti-gay pride, I think they also invited people not to do violence. I mean, people who were together with them. This is what I know because I made I made a longer version of my film, and this is what they told me. But you cannot control whole countries. People are free to come there to attend. So. But I know that people who were protesting that day, some of them, they wanted to go to fight. People who from the anti-gay pride, but the leader of that group, he told them, before, everyone who wants to go to fight doesn't need to be part of this protest. So. But of course, everything happened without any kind of problems. Also, Mr. Nelson, American ambassador, who attended. I talked to him as well because I filmed him as well in the movie. He said, "Yeah, everything happened in such an amazing way. Even all people who wanted to be far away from that parade that day." It was something so beautiful to see. Such a almost 3,000 people who came. The organizers, they were expecting more or less around 500 people, but in the end, around 3,000 people attended, and I think people didn't care if there is. Mr. Nelson or other ambassadors, because 2 days before they took they created some kind of the funny caricature and they placed it in whole Sarajevo, making fun about him. It was studied very well, and it was of course, maybe I don't know who made it, but someone studied it in a very well way, because he's ambassador like 6 months 6 months before that Pride took a place. He came in Sarajevo and become a new ambassador. So this is what I think.
Mm-hmm.
That happened.
You mentioned the numbers, and they're mentioned in the film as well. About 500 participants were expected, and in the end, there were about 3,000 marchers in the Pride. Was that a surprise for the participants? And what was the atmosphere after? Was there a celebratory feeling of we did this, we achieved this? Or you mentioned earlier you don't know if this is going to change anything for LGBTQ individuals in Bosnia. Was there also just a sense of relief? We got through it. We got it over with. Did you get any sense of the aftermath?
Well, yes. I think, yeah, people will be, things will gonna change. Things will gonna change, but not in a fast way, let's say. And what I think it's, I felt some euphoria because they had a party, like some kind of party after the Pride that took place in the National Museum. And also after the Pride March, I went there to how to say, to film some little things. And yeah, the great thing is that this happened in Sarajevo. That is something really huge. Like in different other countries, like, you know, in Italy we have here, like for example, in Italy you have 21 region, and during 1 year you have a 21 Pride March, gay prides. And but still the government didn't allow that 2 men or 2 women could had and adopt children, for example. So this is also you know, problem for the society here. But of course Bosnia and Herzegovina is starting now to be, we are also on the way to become part of the European Union. And of course we have to, if we want to have to be part of the European Union, we have to accept some basic things and basic rules, or I don't know, something that is normal, to respect others.
Ado, I'm seeing a question from the audience here. I just want to ask you. The question is, you mentioned a longer version of the film. What's different about this version than the one we've seen here at the festival? And where can we see it? Yeah,
longer version, it will be screened on television this Friday on TV Sarajevo at 11:15 in the evening. Timing is not perfect, but on Saturday, film was screened at 8 o'clock at N1 television. And it was great, great timing and good feedbacks. What is different between this short version and longer version? Simple one. Short version is more artistic or festival version. Longer version is more TV version and with more people in it who are speaking to me, including former Premier of Canton Sarajevo, including Mr. Nelson, ambassador, American ambassador in Bosnia-Herzegovina, including people who were organizing the Pride March, including people who were organizing anti-Pride March, including more citizens from Sarajevo. Because what's my goal to make this movie that you watched, short version, is actually, I started from the point of view of the simple man. that simple man, that we have to hear how the simple man react on this event. So that was my idea, and from the beginning, and the similar, I mean, the same idea is on the longer version. This short version is how to say, integrated in that longer version. And it will be screened on TV Sarajevo. It will be also screened in different cities and towns in Bosnia and Herzegovina, in Banja Luka, Prijedor, Tuzla, Brčko, Zvornik, Zenica, Bihać, Velika Kladuša. So our idea is to bring this movie, a longer version, to the audience and to the citizens of the Bosnia and Herzegovina. Our idea is also to have to create some kind of dialogue and to speak about the first Pride March, to hear their opinion, to open discussion, and to create a dialogue. I have also to mention that the project is supported by Bosnian-Herzegovinian Resilience Initiative, BHRI, and also by International Organization for Migration, IOM, and also supported from USAID by the American people. So this support, it was really important for me and for my colleagues, because there are like 19 people who worked on this movie, different people from my colleague Priska van der Muller from Holland, together with Chiara Cruciati from Italy. We worked on the script, and the person who made the music is my friend who lives in Los Angeles. She's originally from Taiwan. She was a composer. Then I had post-production made in Rome with other professionals. I also some artists from Sarajevo. You know, my idea was to include people from different parts of the world to work on this film. And what I have to also to mention that it's that film is selected also for the festival in Shanghai in China. So that was you know, like because film is local, but also another side is universal. So that was also good for me and my film crew.
That's a great way of putting it. And of course, a great testament to the importance of this topic, not just for Bosnia and the region, but more internationally. It's wonderful. Congratulations on the Shanghai selection. You actually partially answered already my next question, which was about taking the longer version of the film on the road. So I wanted to ask, what are your expectations, if you have any, how these dialogues are going to develop, what's going to come out of them? If you have any, if you want to venture any guesses.
Well, you know what was interesting in because like few months ago, like when Sarajevo Open Center, who organized the first Pride March, when they announced the second Pride March, no one speak about it, and that was really like interesting, like no one didn't care anymore. I don't know, maybe because of the people people never had opportunity maybe to see it, or maybe they were educated in different way about LGBT people and community in general. People think that they are like aliens, or that they are not human beings, and that they don't belong to live don't talk about them. You know, this is still taboo in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and the statistic shows that the first Pride March, only 2% of people wanted to march and to support first Pride March. Only 2%. Those statistics you could find, like 33%, I think, were like saying, okay, they could do anything they want, but they will not go to march. And the rest, you know, it was not for 8%, I think, or 10% neutral, and the rest it was against. So I think statistics now will change. That is a huge, let's say, step forward for the Bosnia and Herzegovina. And of course, maybe the other people or neighbor countries, maybe also they were thinking that in Sarajevo will be the big, you know, problems, issues, because I think that many people, even people who, even LGBT people, community from the Bosnia and Herzegovina expected, maybe they were thinking, okay, maybe things will gonna happen like in Zagreb or Belgrade. You know, no one couldn't understood. No one couldn't imagine what will happen. But it's great thing that it was positive. We heard so many bad things about, but no violence, physical violence. That is at least a great thing.
We have another question from the audience that I'm going to read, and this is from Ivana, who asked, how did you find the man who is first presented in a film, the one burning ambrosia or ragweed?
Those are the secrets. Those are the secret ingredients of my movie. And yeah, my idea, when you watch my film, you could see like that I started from the village, and then ruins of that you see, like the what happened during the war, and then we are entering in the city. So I was filming many people in east of Bosnia, in villages. I will not say I'm sorry who is that man, and I know him very well. And of course, that was that scene is very particular, because he is speaking like that he is an actor and that he is reading a script. That's the things that he said. I immediately was thinking, okay, this is absolutely is going to be part of the movie. I didn't know in which, you know, moment, but then yeah, I was filming many people from on the countryside, and there were also other few people who were really great. But you know, I wanted to make a short version, like 15 minutes, to have a simple distribution of this movie. But I'm thinking now maybe that I supposed to do a longer version, and that's it, because I see huge interest in this topic.
Absolutely. You don't need to relate to us your secrets, filmmaker secrets, but I did want to ask about that man, but not who he is personally or what the region is, but what was the decision? What was the thinking behind starting the film in the rural area, depicting those scenes, and then switching to the urban area in the Pride?
Yeah, okay, yeah. Well, as I said before, my idea was, you know, to tell a story about the first Pride March. You know, it is not a first movie that I made about LGBT community in Bosnia and Herzegovina. There were other movies before this one. So I wanted to do also something that will be particularly different, let's say like this, that will take, that will start from the nature, that will start from something, and that will evaluate in the presence, because still people, and also to show a contrast that between countryside and rural places and city, actually there is no difference in somehow. Also this is some kind of the contrast, because I was thinking first, okay, maybe there will be some kind of the evolution, but in the end, you could conclude, you could understand by yourself. Some, of course, many people in rural places, they are like the man who said. I had also some other interviews with other people that one man, he said like they're supposed to be like the shepherds, and they're supposed to be like taken in and isolated, you know, many things. But you know, I didn't even wanted to put, you know, those classical interviews that we hear every day. That was also that I selected, let's say, some interviews that will be interested or different, not that we used to hear every day. I hope Ivana is satisfied with the answer.
Satisfied with the answer. Yeah, I also wanted to ask you, kind of shifting here a little bit, to ask you, you live in Rome, or you live between Rome and Bosnia, and you also work between Italy and Bosnia. Can you speak a little bit about that, about the difficulties of that arrangement? And when you work on films, obviously, and how do you, how do you reconcile, for lack of a better word, how do you reconcile these, being in two places at the same time almost? Because this is like kind of one of the problems that a lot of diaspora filmmakers and everybody else has, in a sense. Can you speak a little bit about
here as programmers, right?
Exactly, us as programmers as well. I mean, we're in Bosnia, but we're in New York in some way, right? Like with this festival too, so.
Well, yeah, it's Italy is my second home, and of course I live here last 7 years, and it's sometimes, you know, I used to be often in Sarajevo, in Bosnia and Herzegovina, in Bratunac, in my city, and Srebrenica. But you know, with this coronavirus situation, it's difficult, and you know, it's difficult to travel, and it's exhausting. And I was there till September. Then I come back in Rome, and you know, it's for me, it's inspiring. It's inspiring to be and to travel between Rome and Sarajevo, because they are so two different cities with two different cultures, and you know, both Rome and Sarajevo, they are like in Europe, and people are dreaming Europe in different perspectives. It's very particular. Sarajevo is very particular because with all the cultures and architectures, and you know, it's something that many people who live in Italy, they don't know about that diversity, cultures, traditions, and because they often maybe will think about some Oriental, maybe this is not right word to say, but some East cultures. But for me, it's inspiring because at the moment also I'm writing and working on my first feature film, and this first feature film will take place in the area of the Balkan. It's yeah, it's a family story, and but also I'm working on some projects here in Italy. My work is actually to do different kinds of collaboration with the film festivals, where I do film workshops, where I educate people who want to learn about filmmaking. Those are the very intense film workshops, and in a few days, together with my crew, we together with these participants, we create their short films. Then later they screen it in the festivals or in some other events.
I have one last question on my part for you. I noticed that one of the banners from one of the marchers in the Pride said "Zaštitimo izbjeglice," or "Let's protect the refugees," hearkening to the refugee crisis or the migrant crisis that has been a hot topic in Bosnia as well. Can you comment on that as well, in this coalition building between different disenfranchised groups?
Well, this is what actually, how to say, and not to discriminate no one, like many people in Bosnia were thinking, okay, Pride March will happen and they will only promote their rights. They didn't expect that those people are actually fighters for everyone. They fight for our rights as well, for the refugee rights, for the all little groups who are not protected. So the Pride March was promoting everyone, and this, of course, for me it also was amazing to see this banner protect refugees, because in this moment, in that period of the year, and in last several months and years, Bosnia and Herzegovina is facing huge problems with the refugees, and we are not, how to say, not able to understand, because people will say in their countries is not a war. Why they are going away? I mean, even in some other countries, was not conflict, but people immigrated because they wanted to immigrate. I mean, it's not question about the war. It's question because of your decision. You have right to do it. And this is that we have some conflicts and difficulties to accept. And on the other side, we have tradition with acceptance. It's very contrast. It's very complex.
Thank you, and I think we can. That's a good note to end on our today's Q&A. Thank you so much, Ado. Thank you for this film. Thank you for sharing it with us and our audiences. It was pleasure having you join us. Quick message.
Thank you, and myself as well, also for our audiences who joined us, of course.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Absolutely. And one reminder, quick reminder to our audiences that please vote for these films. Let There Be Color is also eligible for audience awards. After you see it, there will be a voting option for you to vote for these films, all of the films in the festival. So please make sure that you vote for these for the audience award. You can still watch the film all the way until the end of the festival, the last day on November 1st on Sunday. So please watch it. If you haven't seen it, please do so. And on November 1st, also join us for the award ceremony, which is going to be at 6 p.m. in the evening, EST or New York time. So thank you again.
Yeah, and join us for our other Q&As.
Absolutely. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ado.
Thank you, Diana. Thank you, Amir.
Bye, everyone. Stay safe.